Well, welcome. In this lesson, we're going to look at configuring the MemberPress plugin. This is just one of 6 lessons to walk you through building a membership site. In fact, building the site that you're on right now. This content's not available on chrislemma.com. It's not available anywhere else. It's only available on this site, the site that was built with both MemberPress and Beaver Builder, which is the point of this free course. Now, what we're going to do in this particular lesson is walk you through some of what the MemberPress setup, the configuration looks like. But before we get started, I want to highlight what we have installed already. So in case you didn't know, this is running on WordPress. If you don't know what WordPress is or how WordPress works, that's not the material for this lesson. And so I do want to recommend that you go check out WP101.com, and what you'll discover is all the different material, all the lessons you need. So if I'm moving too quickly and you're like, hey, I think there's some stuff I don't understand about posts and pages and the editor. Well, for $19, you can get all of these video lessons, right? Which is awesome over at WP101. So you want to check that out. WordPress, that's what this is built on, but we're talking about 2 plugins. We're talking about MemberPress, which is the membership plugin, and we're talking about Beaver Builder, which is the drag and drop page builder that makes your website look good. Now you'll notice there's only 4 plugins installed here, right? There's Beaver Builder and MemberPress, then iTheme Sync, which allows me to control and update the plugins on all my sites, and this is a natural component of the hosting we have over at Liquid Web, and Ultimate add-on for Beaver Builder, which I will talk about in this course because it will help your website look good, right? So Beaver Builder gives you a whole bunch, and then Ultimate add-on gives you a little bit more, and you may like that. So this is what we're doing. You'll see that I have nothing else installed as plugins. Everything else we're going to do together over this course. And if we go to themes, you'll notice all I have is the main Beaver Builder theme and the Beaver Builder child theme, which allows me to make tweaks if I need to. Now you'll go, hey, where do you get these? Well, the good news is if you get the right version, the agency version of Beaver Builder, then you get their super powerful theme. If not, there are other themes you could use. This just happens to be my favorite. All right, so all we have are these plugins. And if you're wondering, like, wait, how do I install a plugin? Again, I'm going to recommend WP101, but you can always hit Add New, and then you can go hit Upload Plugin, and it'll give you a place where you can choose the file from your hard drive. So that's still there. Of course, you can also do a search in the repository, and we may do that at some point. When we find specific plugins we need, we can go look for it in the repository that way by doing a search. Okay, but we have these installed plugins, and the only thing I've done before we started this course is I put in my license code for Ultimate Add-on, my license code for MemberPress, my license code for iTheme Sync, and my license code for Beaver Builder plugin. So those are active, right? That's the good news. Those are in place. Everything else we're going to do together, which is the first thing is all about configuring MemberPress. And you'll see it says, hey, you haven't configured it yet. Let's go to the options page. You can also get to the options by going to MemberPress and down to the options page right there. So I'm going to click it here. That's going to take us to the options page. Now you are likely going to say, hey, let me start filling this in. But you don't want to do that, because if you do that, you're going to get an error because you haven't filled in the stuff on the info tab. And it turns out this is mighty darn important. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in our name, right? So this is Lemma Inc. That's not really my address. That's not really my city. But I do live in California. I live in a little town called San Marcos, right? So I'm going to fill in that information. That's going to update it, and that's going to mean that I'm doing pretty good, right? Because it's not going to ruin anything. On the other side, you'll see as I click through these, there's a lot of different tabs in here, right? A lot of different stuff that we can go click through. We're going to talk about all these features, right? That's not a problem. But what you're going to notice as I click through these is you're going to go, oh, wait, I don't see a lot of like, hey, asterisks, these are required. Well, that's because there's not a lot that are required. The beauty of all this is that it's really only the info tab that has these. which is why I told you, you got to go there first. Because if you don't go there and you start filling this stuff in, then you're going to end up getting an error that says, hey, there's some required fields you didn't fill out, right? Even though they're on another tab, MemberPress treats it all as one. So, okay, we filled that in. We got our good stuff in. Now let's start at the beginning with pages. One of the things you're going to notice is because we hit save, right? We just went to this assumption that they were going to do the auto create. So you can imagine when we first started, it looked like this. And now, of course, it doesn't because they did auto create these pages, right? So thank you, the account, the login. And you're going, what are these pages? Well, login is the page where you log in. The account page is the page where you go back and look at all your stuff. And the thank you page is the thank you after you made a purchase. So you go, okay, that all makes sense. Okay. Now, I want to introduce you to this little icon, this little eye, because every time you click it, it's going to give you information, right? And this says group and membership page slugs. Slugs are the little parts of the URL at the top in your browser. And so you can configure these slugs to say different things if you really need to. But look at this. It isn't recommended that you change these values, okay? If you already have existing groups and membership pages on a production membership site, because the URLs will change. So you go okay. The reality is, I don't think there's any good reason to change them, period, unless you have some really special case. So we leave them alone. Now, redirect unauthorized visitors to a specific URL, or show an excerpt to unauthorized visitors. What do these things mean? Well, if someone comes to the site and they haven't logged in yet, what do you show them when you're trying to show them, when they're trying to go to a page that's protected, that has content that's protected? What do? You can either redirect them, right, to a specific URL, or you can show them the excerpt. Like, hey, you went to a page, it had a little excerpt, you said, this is what this page is going to be about. Why would you do that? Because you want Google to know what's on that page. You want to register it, bring other people to it, and then they go, oh, but I got to become a member. So some people do that. I really like the redirection, right? I think the redirection is really helpful. When you want to do a redirection, right, you got to go, okay, well, where do I send them? You said, well, I'm going to send them to a custom page. So I'm going to come over here to pages, and I'm going to hit add new. And I'm going to call this our whoops page. This is the, hey, I think you have a problem. I don't think you meant to be here. And on our whoops page, I'm going to take this little short code. Don't worry, we're not coding. Boom. I'm going to come over here. I always go to the text tab, so I know I'm just putting in the direct code itself, and I'm going to hit update. When I hit update, I'm going to have a new page here, which I'm going to take a look at. And when I look at that page, you're going to see a little bit of boring text. There it is. You are unauthorized to view this page. And you go, that's kind of boring. Well, why is it boring? Because we used this boring statement, right? This is a default statement, which, by the way, you can edit right here. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we said, where do we want to redirect them? To a URL. So let's go to our whoops page, grab that URL, and come back. We replace it. So every time unauthorized visitors hit our site, we can redirect them to a whoops page. And then we can change the message. Any message we want, right? So let's say I update that option. Okay. Now, what are we going to see over here? Look at that. It changed. That's good news. That's exactly what it's supposed to do, right? So you can change this by coming in here, and you can do anything you want here, right? I mean, there's a whole page. You can come in and make it look pretty and do things. But the reason we said, hey, go to this page is because, as you can imagine, this is a page that we can change and edit, right? So if we come back to this page, for example, and we grab that shortcode, we take that shortcode away and we hit Page Builder. Oh, we're going to load Beaver Builder. Now I'm cheating because we're not really getting into Beaver Builder. And it says, hey, it's your first time. Do you want to take a tour? I've been here before. I don't need the tour, so I'm good. And even though there's a bunch of templates, I'm going to go with just blank because I really don't want to get into this right now. But guess what happens when I come into my basic models, right? my basic models, I can put anything I want in there. So let's just grab a text editor, drop it straight in, right? Come back in, drop this in there, save, done, publish, right? And then what happens? I get the same. Here I am. Get it. Now, did you notice what just happened? Because I'm now using the page builder, that default title at the top of the page disappeared because I didn't put a title, right? Over here, when I come into the page builder, I didn't say, hey, by the way, in basic, let me go get a header, right? And let me put it in the heading above and say, what's the title of this page? I didn't do that. Nope. So you're only getting what you get. But you can start seeing immediately how powerful this is, because if I can redirect you from MemberPress over to a Beaver Builder page, and then I can do all this other stuff here, whoa, I'm going to get fancy. Okay, so I'm going to hit done here. I am going to discard changes and exit because, frankly, I didn't do anything important, right? I just showed you what was possible. So I don't need this page anymore. I'm going to leave this alone. This is my whoops page. We'll come back to that another time. I don't have to do a lot with this because, frankly, I can do it in the page builder itself, but I know I'm going to redirect people, right? So that's good news. So we have finished configuring the pages section, right? That's good news. If we go to the account, right, we're going to get a whole lot of stuff in here, right? What are we doing with this? So first of all, notice this toolbar up here, right? The toolbar, when I come to take a look at this site, visit the site, right? That toolbar is still there. And it says, hey, do you want me to disable the admin bar for members, right? To not show it to them, right? Do I also want me to keep members out of the WordPress dashboard? So when they log in, they don't log into this back end area, right? And you go, okay, these two things I always want to check. So I don't want them playing in the background of the website. I don't want them messing around. I don't want them to show the admin bar. None of that, okay? Then it says, allow members to cancel their own subscription. I'm going to uncheck that. And allow members to pause and resume their own subscriptions. I'm going to uncheck that. It starts unchecked. What does this mean? Well, this allows people to cancel their own membership, and it allows them to pause their membership and resume it later. These are fantastic features. You definitely want to think about it. But my default? Oh, no. I want you to call me. I want you to talk to me. I want you to explain to me what it is I did that was so bad that made you want to cancel, right? I won't make it super hard on you, but I do want that feedback loop. So I uncheck these guys, right? And then the password strength meter, right? The default is set to hide, but we don't want hide, right? We want show it and require medium password or stronger. Why do we want that? Because anybody who hacks into our site, for whatever reason, because someone had a dumb password, it corrupts the site and therefore breaks trust with all of our members. So business requirement, show the password strength when they're creating their account, right? And make sure that it's pretty decent, right? Enable coupon. Yeah, okay. Prorate subscription prices when they upgrade. Sure, that's fine. Disable the standard WordPress registration form. That's totally fine too. Do I want members to use their email for their username? I do, so I check it. Disable the 1-day grace period after sign up. Of course I'm going to disable that. I don't want people jumping out right away. Require terms of service on their membership registration forms. Absolutely, right? And I need a URL for this. So I come over to my pages, add new. Terms of service, I hit publish. I tend to do that a lot, just so you know. I publish a lot of stuff because I'm working without a net here. I'm out there. I'm not doing local development. I'm doing it on the server. But of course, I'm doing it on a server where no one knows this domain name. No one's ever come to this site. So I'm not really worried about it, right? I do a lot of development directly on the server. But also, I'm crazy like that. So if you want to do local development, that's totally fine too. I'm just going to now come to this page so that I can get that URL, right? And then I'm going to come back, edit the page, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to click Page Builder. Why do I do that? I'll show you, right? The reason is because I want my site to regularly think about pages in the realm of Page Builder. And see that little short code? When I get to that page and it's already been touched by the page builder, I click it, I go right into page builder mode, right? And I really do like that, okay? So we are good, we're done. We're going back over here and we're saying we need to put this URL here. So I will. There's terms of service. Now, force WordPress to use the MemberPress login page. Remember we created that MemberPress login page? And URL to direct member to after login and after logout, right? So, well, after logout, by all means, I'm putting them here. But after login, probably not putting them there. Probably putting them at some sort of dashboard or something else, but I'll come back to that. Force them to, to use the MemberPress login. When you click on this, right, it says, hey, you want to override this link here, right? And instead take it to your login page. And you go, yeah, I want that. I want that because remember we created that other login page before? Yeah, and I want to stylize, I want to make it look good, etc. Right? Then on the account page, you have what do you want to say, right? What is the welcome message on the account page? And we're going to leave that alone. So we're going to hit update options. Okay, so we just did pages and account. And now you're starting to go, wow, this could take a little bit. Yes, it could. In fact, we're not going to touch payments in this lesson. We'll do it in the next. And we're not going to touch email. So these two we're gonna leave for a second. But we aren't going to leave fields. Nope. Because when someone is registering, right? When someone is becoming part of the membership group, right? We may want to collect some data. And if we want to collect that data, this is a good time to collect it. So I'm going to show you how we do that, right? We're in the next tab here. So we've done pages, we've done account. Now we're going into fields, right? And you'll see extended user information fields, right? The name fields, we want to show them. Maybe you want to require them, right? I don't always hit require, but some days I feel like it. Address fields, right? Do you want to show them or require them, right? If I'm doing all this online stuff, maybe I don't need to require those. That's okay. But there may be other things I care about, right? So we're going to come over here. We're going to put phone, right? I want to know their phone. And I'm going to say I want that to be just text, right? And I want to show it at sign up, and I want it to be required. I want to know who you are, right? So there we go. I added my field. Now, what if you wanted more fields, right? I mean, we already said their username is going to be their email, so we don't have to worry so much about that. But what if we want to know something else, right? What if we wanted to collect something that was specific to, say, one of their preferences, right? I've written articles about this where you get into stuff like you just collect a little bit of data like what's your favorite wine, cigar, what size t-shirt do you wear, whatever. Like you can collect some data and that helps you do things like, hey, send them a t-shirt when they join the membership or send them a nice gift or whatever, right? So you can do that because you have options here, right? You have drop downs, whatever. So let's say that we wanted to get your t-shirt size. And we said this is a drop down, right? And now we're going to get these guys. Notice I'm not going to necessarily show this at sign up. I'm not going to show it at require. I can come back and collect it later, right? So here we're going to get options, and you can see here I can add a bunch of options. So this is small, medium, large. And I hit update, right? And so now I have two custom user fields, right? Custom information about that user that I can collect. And you go, this is good. This is good. Now, we're going to come back to payments when we talk about some of the stuff in the next lesson. We talk about some of the add-ons that go with this and configuration and all that good stuff. You'll see here you get some of these options, right? Stripe and all that stuff. So we'll talk about that in the next lesson. Also, there's a lot of emails, and we're going to talk about all these different emails, what they mean, how they work, and all that good stuff. We've already done info, right? We're going to come now to general before we go back over to marketing, okay? We'll come back to marketing in a second, but I want to hit general because this is still part of what I consider to be kind of core setup, right? This is some of the tabs that I hit as I'm navigating and getting this site configured. So language, US, yep. Currency code, USD. The symbol, yep, the $sign. symbol after the amount? No, it's before the amount. Global CSS styles, right? What they're telling you about, right, is do you want the MemberPress CSS to show up on every single page, right? And we go, no. They'll tell you, only do this if you absolutely need to. So we're going to leave that alone. Then we get into authorize the search engines, right? One of the dynamics, right, is if someone shows up with Google in the metadata of the person who's coming to look at this, do you want the search engine, the bot, to get access to your stuff, right? It'll tell you, hey, heads up when you're using cache, right? But in general, it's do you want to give them access? Here's why I don't check that. Because it turns out you can spoof that dynamic, the metadata related to that bot. You can spoof it in your regular browser, which means people can. And in fact, there's articles about this. There's even little Chrome extensions, and people can end up just coming in for free all the time. So I don't really click that button. Right now, you can get fancy and you can block search engines, right? So you can say, hey, do not show this content, right? And again, I don't go that crazy, though I've seen people do it. Then we get the enable the paywall, right? And what this does is how many times do you get to see different pages for free before it gets locked down? Now, I will say that this is one of those interesting things where if this is really core part of your business, I mean, it's a cool feature, but if it's a core part of your business, you may want more nuance than just what this offers, right? So when you click to this, you get just a single number, right? TinyPass, which has now changed their name, does this kind of stuff, and you get a lot of different options. So if I have a lot of that, I tend to go with TinyPass. But for now, I'm going to leave this alone. Disable the rewrites, and in background jobs, I don't have to worry about that. So fundamentally, I can accept all the defaults, right? And go from here. The one here is asynchronous emails, right? And this is, do you want to send this at a different time, right? Now it turns out I don't send email with my web server ever. So I'm not worried about this because I'm going to show you how I put another product in play and use that to send out email so that I'm not using my web server to send mail. So I'm not worried about that. Hit update, right? Then we hit, one second. What? Login name field cannot be blank. Transaction key field cannot be blank. This is, what did I do? Login name cannot be blank. Transaction key field. I don't know what I just did. I know I've done something. I just don't know. What did I do? Is it because I clicked on this guy earlier? Yes. Here it is. This is what I did wrong, right? I opened this up, and the moment I did, I told it basically, hey, heads up, I want to configure it. Even though I don't want to configure it right at this moment. So we'll push that in the next one. But I'm going to just say, hey, there's another little bit about tax, right? And you should know. I don't do the tax thing right now, but if you had to do tax and tax calculation, etc., you could definitely do that with that. So what we've done is we've looked at tax, we've looked at general, we looked at the info, which we start with. We have not touched marketing, emails, or payment, which we'll do in the next video, but we did cover the fields, the account information, and the pages. So we are mostly configured. We're going to come back in the next lesson and do payments, email, and talk about marketing, right? So those three coming up when we finish up configuring the baseline, just the baseline, because we still got to do a whole lot as it relates to the groups, the rules, and all this good stuff, the baseline of MemberPress.